Today on Ian vs. Daddy Bones, we're taking it back to 1987 and talking about Dolph Lundgren He-Man and Frank Langella Skeletor.
Oh boy, kids, we're gonna have fun today!
Yay! Hey! Alright!
How is everyone doing tonight?
Welcome back! It's another exciting episode of Ian vs. Daddy Bones. I am Ian Daddy Bones. I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. Say what's up to all the YouTube subscribers. Special high five and a knuck dap to all the Patreon subscribers. Throwing me $1 to $5 a month for either bonus footage to Ian vs. Daddy Bones, or they leveled up to get the Original Geeks podcast, or you just want to throw me a buck to get your name in the credits to support what the fuck we do here at Ian vs. Daddy Bones. Thank y'all very much. Today on the show, I am going to be talking about two figures from my Masters of the Universe Masterverse collection that I recently obtained this past spring. But before I get to that, I got some announcements to talk about regarding tasks I'm taking on, missions I'm trying to complete. I'm looking at what I'm about to do as like getting a mission in like a video game. You know what I mean? You got so many steps until you complete your mission, and then you get your reward at the end of your mission, no matter what you got to do and what steps you got to take. So I made a couple of decisions. Well, actually, I made one decision that is purchasing something dope that I'm going to have on the future on Ian vs. Daddy Bones, and that is the Mega Castle Grayskull. Basically, Mattel's Lego competitor. I got that Castle Grayskull. So everybody's like excited because Lego has all these amazing fucking sets that they have out in stores. Like, honestly, if I was to like randomly pick like Lego stuff I would love to have, I want that Nintendo Entertainment System TV, you know what I mean? I want that Atari 2600. I wouldn't mind the Infinity Gauntlet, you know what I mean? That shit looks pretty dope. But what I just grabbed was the Mega Castle fucking Grayskull. Check this shit out. Normally it retails for around $300. Mattel Creations had it 30% off, which brought it down to $205. So once I thought about it, and now mind you, right now I am currently crowdfunding Eternia. Eternia I have been making payments on since last November. Once my wife gave me the blessing, yes, you can do this, and I've been making the payments on Eternia ever since. So I'm not rich, I don't have it in the wallet like that, and I needed some assistance with this process. Now, thankfully, through Mattel Creations, they had a service called Shop Pay that I was able to use. And with Shop Pay, I'm taking care of Eternia through monthly payments until it's paid off. So I decided to fuck around on Mattel Creations. And you know what? I'm going to add Castle Grayskull to my cart. I'm going to go through the checkout process just to see if it gives me the shop option. And if I'm able to make payments on this motherfucker, how much do I got to put down, and what are the payments going forward? Long story short, the Castle Grayskull is doable in like $18 monthly payments. So that's going to be no fucking problem. So I decided to grab that Castle Grayskull, and mind you, the first payment's not even until next month. And all I got to do is honestly just sacrifice a figure, you know what I mean? Instead of like deciding, yeah, I'll grab Bobby Lashley just because he comes with the WWE Championship belt and I want the Championship belt to go with my Roman Reigns figure, I'll pass on Bobby Lashley and instead I'll throw that $18 towards the Mega Castle fucking Grayskull, which once that shit gets here, that's going to get unboxed, that's going to be opened up on the show, and for all I know, I may make a movie out of that shit, and that may be the third tier, that may be the $10 tier. Watch my fucking movie of me making Mega Castle Grayskull and turn it into an epic event for the Patreon subscribers. You know what I mean? It's got me thinking. Now, the other thing that I'm thinking about doing, I would like to do this. However, it's another crowdfund. Mattel made the announcement the other day that they are doing another crowdfund. Now, mind you, they do crowdfunds all the time. They recently did a WWE crowdfund where they were trying to raise and sell enough WCW Monday Nitro entrance sets that lit up, and depending on how many people bought the Monday Nitro set determined how many tiers they were going to unlock, which was going to include Ultimate Edition figures that were going to be included with this package. Like, they were offering like an Ultimate Warrior, a Hulk Hogan, a Scott Steiner, a Diamond Dallas Page, and like Rey Mysterio Jr. from when Rey Mysterio made his debut on Monday Nitro, and they were not successful in completing that crowdfund. So the Monday Nitro entrance set is not coming out through Mattel Creations. So they just announced a new Mattel Creations for the Jurassic Park brand. And what they are doing is they are trying to crowdfund, and they are trying to make the gates to Jurassic Park. Now, it's like 20 inches tall. The gates of Jurassic Park, it has the base, and it fucking... It's got a motor in it. It's mechanical. You hit a button and the gates open and play the fucking Jurassic Park music. It's got like different sound modes for like morning, day, and night. So like you hear different dinosaur sounds, and there's like flickering torches on the gates, and there's even floodlights on the ground. So there's like, I guess, like a night mode. And so it comes with the gates to Jurassic Park, and it comes with the Ford Explorer vehicle that, you know, they ride, the green, yellow, and orange fucking vehicle that they ride through Jurassic Park. So it comes with the Ford Explorer, the gates of Jurassic Park, and they're selling that for $250. And it's, you know, as far as like the size of it, it's fucking huge. You know, for the gates of Jurassic Park, it's 20 inches tall. And you could go to Mattel Creations right now. You can click on the Jurassic Park crowdfund. You can go see for yourself. You know, they got plenty of pictures available showing you everything that's included, because like the other crowdfunds, there's going to be tiers you want to try to unlock, and hopefully enough people get on board to support this thing to not only get it made, but hopefully enough people participated to get it made to unlock all the perks. And the way it's going to work is, I don't have the exact numbers of how many, like, they need a baseline of 5,000 units sold, right? Just to get it made. Just to officially call the crowdfund a success, they need to sell 5,000 Jurassic Park gates. So once they hit 5,000, it's gonna get made. You're gonna get the gates. You're gonna get the Ford Explorer, and I believe if they hit like 7,000, they're going to include Tim, the little boy from the first movie, and Tim has the electrified hairstyle. So he also comes with the electrified fence that go on both sides of the Jurassic Park gate. So now you have the electrified fence, the gate, and you have fucking Tim. And what Tim does is Tim grabs onto the electric wire, and he just stands there. So you always have Tim going on the fucking electrified fence. It's fucking great. So you get Tim, you get the gates, and I know I saw in pictures it includes like the different signs of stay away from the fence and what dinosaur exhibit it is. So it gives you a bunch of exhibit stay away danger signs. But I don't know if that's included with the Tim tier or if that comes with the next tier. But like the next tier gives you a Tyrannosaurus from what they're calling the Hammond collection. And this is like a 30 points of articulation on a fucking T-Rex figure. And it looks absolutely sick. There's photos of the T-Rex over on the Mattel Creations page. I mean, everything about this looks so sick with the quality they've thrown into it. And then the final tier, you get the sister, you get Tim's sister, and it includes the fucking goat that they go to feed to the T-Rex. And she's all like, well, what happened to the goat? And then like the fucking goat leg fucking hits the windshield. It comes with the goat. And its leg pulls off. So you could put the goat leg on the fucking windshield and you could take the sister figure and you could stick her in the fucking car so she's all like, ah! And with the fucking goat leg on it. And you could reenact that scene from Jurassic Park and it looks fucking great. $250. So basically, I already went through the whole, test process of already seeing what the payments are gonna be for the Jurassic Park crowdfund, and coming out to about $22 on my end, which, like the Castle Grayskull Mega, it's totally doable because I know when my Eternia payments are. So all I gotta do is just alternate fucking weeks and just take care of it like that, and that shit's gonna be good to go for the next foreseeable future. And speaking of the next foreseeable future, when I'm not participating in a crowdfund, when I'm not making payments on a Mega Castle Grayskull, my pre-orders are starting to arrive. Everything that I pre-ordered like 2.5, 3 months ago, back in like February and shit, all of my pre-orders are slowly starting to trickle in. Like, for example, the Dragon Blaster Skeletor that I opened on my birthday for the Patreon subscribers. See, y'all don't even know about Dragon Blaster Skeletor. That was an exclusive for the Patreon subscribers. That was just an extra video I decided to do on my birthday besides the actual episode that I decided to do on my birthday. So, like, the Patreon subscribers got double the hookup that day. And, you know what I mean? I gave them a piece of cake and sent them home with a fucking, goodie bag and whatnot. But Dragon Blaster Skeletor was like the first of the new shit that officially arrived. So I got my Dragon Blaster Skeletor, and now the other stuff is starting to show up. And so far, my Point Dread and the Talon Fighter is here. I got the blue and gold Falcon fucking ship that sits on the green rock that also attaches the Castle Grayskull. Point Dread and the Talon Fighter showed up. Skeletor and Screech showed up. I got it's the purple and magenta bird, the evil version of Zor, and it comes with Skeletor, but this is a Skeletor variant, a brand new Skeletor variant, being called Blood Skeletor, where he's got like red armor and a red hood, but it's like a magenta-ish red and whatnot, and he looks pretty fucking sick. And this Skeletor actually has an articulated jaw, so his mouth opens and closes kind of like the way Trap Jaw works. So I got Skeletor and Screech, even though I gotta say I'm disappointed because I got Skeletor and a bird. I thought I was buying a Skeletor and a Dust and Diamond figure, but that was not the case. So I got Skeletor and Screech, Point Dread and the Talon Fighter, and hopefully by the next episode, because I already got the email saying that they're arriving soon and getting ready to process, and that Snakeface and Slammerai off Masters of the Universe Origins, Wave 13, and Snakeface is actually the second deluxe character that pairs with the same Dragon Blaster Skeletor because they are released at the same time in the same wave. So those 4 items are starting to hit. And then over the course of the summer, I got my Snake Men 4-pack coming out. I got the Skeleton Warriors 2-pack. Snake Mountain is coming out in August. So it's going to be pretty fucking fresh with knocking out my pre-orders and shit. And I'm going to have plenty to talk about on Ian vs. Daddy Bones as we continue through the summer, roll into the fall. And we'll see where we are rolling into the winter, right around the time I celebrate the 1-year anniversary of Ian vs. Daddy Bones. But today on the show, I have nothing that I'm opening, but I have 2 figures that I'm really excited to talk about. Because honestly, I never had these figures when I was a kid. And I don't mean the fact that, they're Masterverse figures. I didn't have these as a kid. What I mean is, when I was 7, 8 years old, and the Masters of the Universe movie was in production, And up until when it got released in theaters, you know what I mean? I was like 7, 8 years old. So this movie was definitely on my radar. I was definitely looking forward to Masters of the Universe. And I know a lot of other kids in the 80s that were fans of Masters of the Universe were looking forward to seeing this movie in theaters. Now, when the movie came out, it was fucking terrible. Like, it's kind of weird because looking back on it, it was a complete disappointment. Basically, Masters of the Universe in 1987 in theaters was the 1987 equivalent of what Super Mario Brothers was in 1993 when that hit theaters, and that was a box office bomb. Now, going to the Masters of the Universe movie, though, you know, there were a lot of expectations going into the movie. It was one of the biggest toy brands of the 80s. And when you really break it down, it's one of the few that got a live action movie instead of getting an animated movie. You know what I mean? Like Transformers got the animated movie, but then again, nobody was expecting them to make a live action Transformers movie in the fucking 80s. But Masters of the Universe, Hollywood thought was doable. And it was. It was more than doable. But it was done differently than what the fans were expecting. You know what I mean? We were expecting a He-Man movie to take place on Eternia, and only Eternia, but for some reason they decide the movie will start in Eternia, but something will happen where they all have to come to Earth. So now it's He-Man, Man-at-Arms, and Teela on Earth, getting used to our planet and finding our planet weird. And then you have, like, the Earth people like, oh my god, you know? And, so, during the production, they had the basic core, you know what I mean? Like, He-Man, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Evil-Lyn, Beast-Man, you know what I mean? The Sorceress, you know, they had, like, a core group of He-Man characters to have a story, you know, created, you know, that and whatnot. You know, you had your cast of characters, but it was like an original concept starring He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So basically, the movie was a big bomb, okay? And when it comes to the toy line, and Masters of the Universe was still in stores, we only got 3 figures from the movie created as Masters of the Universe characters. We only got Gwildor, who came with a cosmic key that didn't look anything like the cosmic key from the movie. You had Sorod, the one lizard, bio, whatever fucking character that fucking, you know, in the movie he would shoot sparks from his mouth, but the figure kind of worked kind of like a cigarette lighter. It shot sparks and technically was a fire hazard. And then they released Blade, who was just the swordsman bad guy who had 2 swords and an eye patch. And those were the only 3 figures from the movie that were released in the vintage line. So we never got a Dolph Lundgren He-Man. We never got a Frank Langella Skeletor in the 80s vintage line. The closest we got was Laserlight He-Man and Laserlight Skeletor, which never got released. Even though they did, but they didn't. They got released internationally, so like I believe Laserlight He-Man and Laserlight Skeletor were only available in like Argentina and whatnot, and Italy, and you know, fucking, they never came out in the United States, but they were supposed to be the final He-Man and Skeletor variants of the Masters of the Universe line, rolling into the Powers of Grayskull expansion that got canceled because this movie fucking sucked, because this movie bombed, because Mattel lost so much money on this movie. Even the production company went out of fucking business. But Mattel had to dip into its pockets just to get the fucking final scene of the movie shot so He-Man and Skeletor could actually have their final battle. And, okay, I had a quick little edit. My daughter came upstairs and didn't know I was filming and started being loud in the hall. But basically, Mattel had to dip into their pockets. They had to pay for the final scene to get made. And because Mattel lost so much money on the Masters of the Universe movie, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. That's what made Mattel say, fuck it. We're just pulling the plug on all things Masters of the Universe. We're just retiring it, we're putting it on the shelf, and we're cutting our losses and we're moving on. And that's what they did. You know what I mean? They expanded with Barbie, expanded with fucking Hot Wheels, and had other brands over the years and shit. And Masters of the Universe went away for a little bit until Space He-Man came out like 2 fucking years later, which we'll get to Space He-Man on another fucking episode of the show. But, we never got Dolph Lundgren He-Man, Frank Langella Skeletor in the vintage line. We only got Blade, Saurod, and Gwildor, which in itself is kind of weird that those characters even exist, because based on what I've read from, books and online interviews with people involved with the movie and whatnot, Gwildor, original character, Saurod, original character, Blade, original character, even going to the movie because he didn't get a figure in the vintage line, Karg, you know what I mean? Like, original character. And fucking, the reason for that is apparently the writer, the director, producers, apparently there were intentions for Triclops, Trapjaw, and Trapjaw, Triclops, and Merman, now that I think about it. Yeah, Triclops, Trapjaw, and Merman, because Beastman is in the movie. But they wanted there to be some deaths in the movie. They wanted some of the bad guys to be killed during the movie. And Mattel didn't want any of their original branded characters to be killed in the movie. And because of that, they came up with, they wrote and created new characters based on those original Masters of the Universe characters. And you can see how these characters are reflected in the movie, because you got Karg. Karg is like the lizard face guy with the white hair, with the you know what I mean? The lizard face guy with the Liberace hair, with the fucking cape, and he's got the hook hand. So because he has the hook hand right there, that's your giveaway. That's supposed to be Trapjaw. Now you got Saurod, the lizard-like creature that spits sparks. I guess he's supposed to be Merman, because scales, lizard scales, fish scales, you know what I mean? Blade, with having an eye patch and the fact that he's got swords, would be Triclops. Even though there's nothing about him having 3 eyes. You know what I mean? It still focuses on the eye because he has an eye patch, and you're looking at that. So there's like how the 3 original Masters of the Universe villains became original bad guys in the movie. And, not everybody got a figure. So it's kind of weird how, and then like Gwildor, from what I understand, was supposed to be Orko, but I don't know exactly. Maybe they couldn't get the special effects for the floating fucking faceless wizard. Well, his eyes are there, but you know what I mean? Maybe it was difficult to actually pull Orko off, but it was easier to dress, the actor in the fucking makeup and shit and play Gwildor. So, moving on. The vintage line never got the figures, got Space He-Man. That's its own fucking shit for another episode, because I do have the Space He-Man, the New Adventure Space He-Man, and we'll talk about him on another future episode of Ian vs. Daddy Bones. But over the course of 2008 to 2018, when Matty Collector had Masters of the Universe Classics, as they released the figures for Masters of the Universe Classics through the subscription-based online service, at some point they started making the movie figures. And they officially were able to get. Now, going back real quick to the vintage figures, I don't know the reasons why they weren't able to get Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella's likeness for the figures. Maybe at the time they wouldn't have been able to pull off the likeness that well. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know the real reasonings behind that. But for the purpose of Masters of the Universe Classics, because right now Masters of the Universe is going through, well, last year, but still rolling into this year, it's the 40th anniversary era of Masters of the Universe with a lot of the merchandise. A lot of the items that came out at the end of last year had the 40th anniversary sticker, in the silver sticker in the corner of the product. And, you know, moving forward, we've celebrated the 40th anniversary. So back when Classics was around, you know, Masters of the Universe was celebrating its 25th anniversary, I believe. And because of that, they were able to get the licenses for Frank Langella. Though they were able to get the rights for the likeness for Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren. So the movie versions of He-Man and Skeletor were able to come out as figures in the Masters of the Universe Classics line. And I don't know the specific year that those figures got. I don't know what wave of classics the Langella and Lundgren, He-Man, Skeletor got introduced. However, it was a big deal because after all that time, you know, they were finally able to put these figures out, and you know, such a wonderful job was done on the sculpts for. You know, on the head sculpts for the figures, you know, the attention to detail, to the deco on the outfits, like everything was like what it needed to be, and they looked absolutely incredible. And but the thing was, those figures were only available online through Masters of the Universe Classics, through MattyCollector.com, and it was subscription based, you know what I mean? And there's a whole community of collectors that love Masters of the Universe Classics. So they were never available in store. So with me getting the Masterverse versions of Dolph Lundgren, He-Man, and Frank Langella Skeletor, these figures technically mark the first time that they've officially been available for purchase at retail. I mean, I don't know how well you're going to find these in stores right now. I ordered mine online. I can say I've never seen these figures at my local Target. And my local Target is very great for pretty much having new Masterverse figures in stock, especially the deluxe figures. Like my Man-at-Arms and my Too Bad, and even Julia got me my deluxe Beastman at that Target over the course of the past year. But I ordered these guys online, and it's actually funny because I ordered one figure from one retailer, and I actually canceled my pre-order because it got delayed from one retailer, and I went with a different retailer and was able to get that figure immediately. So I was finally able to get the Dolph Lundgren He-Man, Frank Langella Skeletor. Now myself, I'm not planning on opening these. I'm not opening these figures because there's a couple of reasons, and I'll talk about it. Now, for starters, you got the Frank Langella Skeletor, Dolph Lundgren He-Man. Now, as you can see, both of them are in the wide rectangle deluxe box. Now, these are normally, like, these figures, depending on where you get them from, they're usually between $30 to $35 for the deluxe figures, okay? Now, The problem I have, and one of my reasons why I'm not going to open them, is because there's a lot of empty space inside these packaging. Like there's a lot of empty space with the fucking accessories and whatnot. And as you can see, I mean, granted the Dolph Lundgren He-Man does come with an alternate head, and that's actually a vintage 80s He-Man head that he comes with. So if you wanted to put the 80s vintage He-Man head on the Dolph Lundgren figure, you're more than welcome to do so. If you want movie He-Man to look like toy He-Man, I wouldn't. I mean, that's just me. I didn't buy Dolph Lundgren He-Man to take Dolph Lundgren's head off it and put another He-Man head on it. It kind of defeats the purpose of wanting the Dolph Lundgren He-Man for so fucking long to do that. It makes no sense. It'd be like, oh my god, my whole life I want a lime green fucking Corvette. And then you get a lime green Corvette, and the first thing you do is you take it to the fucking shop and you have them paint it fucking orange or something. You know what I mean? So, I got the Dolph Lundgren He-Man, but with the He-Man and the Skeletor, as you can see, there's a lot of empty space within the box. So, what I'm getting at is, I feel the only reason they're in these boxes is to give them a reason to sell them for $35 when they're more than capable of putting these figures in the smaller box and sell it for $23, $24, because basically they're only charging more for these figures to pay for the licensing costs. And so even though they don't, they don't come packed with, additional heads and a shit ton of extra hands like some of the other characters do, they do come with a shit ton of accessories, I do gotta say. I keep moving these around. Basically, real quick before I get back to breaking down the figures, another reason why I don't want to open these guys up is because of the way these boxes are. The back of the boxes had the cross-sale art as well as some beautiful fucking art for the figure you bought. But the thing is, if you flip the boxes around and you put them together, the art matches up, and it's He-Man and Skeletor facing off against each other in what's supposed to be the final battle of the movie, even though if it was really the final battle of the movie, Skeletor would be all decked out in gold, and he's not, but the point is there. You know what I mean? They're paying homage to the movie, to the, let this be our final battle. You know what I mean? So, it's got the artwork on the back that matches up and makes the mural-like image. So, honestly, that's how I have this displayed on my shelf at home. I have these placed in the middle of like the shelves on the cabinets on the shelves, and you always see this and shit. So it looks pretty fucking dope. I like it. But go into the He-Man real quick. Dolph Lundgren He-Man. He's got the Dolph Lundgren head. He's got He-Man's power sword, which in the movie they didn't really put too much focus on the power sword, even though Skeletor was able to get the sword from He-Man, and he still had it, like, he had the power of Grayskull, but there is no split sword, there is no two halves of the power sword here. But what's interesting about this He-Man is he comes with extra accessories, because the one weird thing about live-action He-Man was seeing Dolph Lundgren He-Man shoot a gun. He-Man never had a fucking gun in the cartoon, and let alone the fucking toy line, you know what I mean? And so he comes with a gun, and he comes with two different knives. He's got a boot knife, and he also has a... Well, actually, now that I think about it and look at it, he... let me see here. Yes, he has a boot knife, and he has a dagger. And the dagger has has a sheath on his leg, and he also has a holster for his gun. So, it's definitely Space He-Man and everything that he had in the fucking movie. As you can see, he's got his shoulder pads, he's got his harness armor that He-Man wears. You know, he's got a really dope cape, and yeah, I mean, here's the thing. When I was a kid, and it was like, hey, I really wanted a Dolph Lundgren He-Man. I really wish they put out movie He-Man and movie Skeletor. That Dolph Lundgren He-Man figure in the 80s probably would have been the shits. You know what I mean? Like, the face sculpt would have been fucking, completely different. And looking back at it, he wouldn't have had all his accessories. You know what I mean? He wouldn't have had his cape. It would have, or if he did, it would have been fucking plastic like Burger King Randy's. But, I do gotta say, for the quality that they put into this figure, I mean, yeah, the Dolph Lundgren head sculpt is a little off. It's not 100% perfect, but it's as close as we're probably gonna get. But I gotta say, I'm glad to have this figure in my collection. And honestly, with the movie Skeletor, completes the set. You know what I mean? And on the back of He-Man's box, it says, He-Man, heroic defender of Eternia. The evil Skeletor captured Sorceress and claimed Castle Grayskull as his own. And there's only one hero on Eternia who can save her. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. His quest leads him across time and space to a strange planet called Earth. Even in this new world, He-Man embodies the power of Grayskull and proves he is the true master of the universe. And on the back, Skeletor, evil tyrant of Eternia. The nefarious sorcerer finally conquered Eternia. He put the mighty sorceress his prisoner. He made the mighty sorceress his prisoner. The secrets of Castle Grayskull were his for the taking, but for one nuisance, He-Man. Though his foe evaded capture using the cosmic key, Skeletor hunts him down so he may absorb the power of the cosmos and declare himself the master of the universe. So you got He-Man and Skeletor, and that's what the back of their box bios read. But Skeletor overall, like, I mean, it's Frank Langella Skeletor. You know what I mean? He looks absolutely sick. You know what I mean? He's got, his skull face with lips. And absolutely sick. He's got that white face now. All the like early when a year ago when this figure got announced and they showed the first picture, when Mattel showed the first official photos of him, there was like a little more detail. There was like a wash to the skull to where the lines popped out. And, if it's on here, it's barely there. It's a light wash. It seemed like a lot darker in the photos. But, he's got all the ornamental details on his fucking outfit that he wore in the movie, which is completely different than, what his vintage blue skin, purple armor looked like. It's a complete original design for Skeletor, for Frank Langella Skeletor, and it worked for the movie. I never complained about movie Skeletor, you know what I mean? And I thought a lot of the new villains kind of sucked. I mean, Blade was kind of cool because, he had a fucking eye patch. But, Beastman fucking sucked in that shit. But Frank Langella Skeletor comes with his Havoc staff. He comes with his sword. He doesn't come with the power sword that he takes from He-Man. It actually has a different handle and hilt and a design on it. And so that's clearly Skeletor's own sword. He has his Havoc staff. He comes with he's equipped with his jack-off hands, and he comes with a fist, and he comes with not a slapping hand, but it looks like a handshake style hand, and he does come with the cosmic key. So Skeletor definitely looks pretty fucking dope, and the Dolph Lundgren He-Man looks really fucking dope. I am gonna say that, like I said, as of right now, I'm not planning on opening up these figures. That may change in the future, because as of right now, the He-Man and Skeletor are the only figures that have been announced for the movie sub-brand of Masterverse. So whether or not we get a Blade, Saurod, Karg, even a movie Beastman or an Evil Lyn, those 5 figures remain to be seen. I had to pause for a second. I hear my wife yelling at our 3-year-old outside, so Sadie must have did something. So I know Amber was on her ass, so she must have been running. But who knows if other figures are going to come out in the future for the movie sub-brand, or maybe it was just a one-time thing because they were able to get Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren's likeness. And honestly, that's when the announcement for these figures first was made, right around when Mattel had the official corporate, 40th anniversary, birthday party for He-Man and Masters of the Universe, and Dolph Lundgren was present, and I believe they even showed the movie, and they had a big screening of it, and it was like a big event. I'm sure some people were invited to it. I wasn't. It's all good though. But, that's when they announced that the Frank Langella He-Man and, the Frank Langella Skeletor, Dolph Lundgren He-Man figures were coming out. And here we are almost a year later, because basically as we start July, where I was at this point in time last year, my Wave 8 of Origins figures, my Terraclaw Skeletor, the Flying Fist He-Man, I remember getting in the mail last year around my birthday, and then rolling at the beginning of July. I remember me, my wife, and the kids were en route to Knoebels for a day trip, and that was right around the time when the Wave 9 of Origins was getting ready to come out. And right around this time last year was when Eternia was shown off at San Diego Comic-Con for the first time, and everyone's like, whoa, no way, they're coming out with fucking Eternia. And everyone at Comic-Con was like, there's nothing to see here. Please stand by. Nothing to see here. Please move along. Please stand by. So we didn't find out shit until fucking October. And fucking here we are, and we're almost paid off with Eternia. But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm at the in-laws' house. I always film an episode of the show when I'm here, but we're doing a barbecue. I got food to go eat. I'm fucking starving. I already knocked out a shift at work this morning, and I'm still trying to debate if I have time to make it over to Xcite Wrestling. Tonight, Xcite Wrestling is having its final show at the X, which is the venue at the Oakdale Mall, now the Oakdale Commons. And basically the X was a pro wrestling studio venue that was built inside a former Rue 21 women's clothing store. Renovated the inside of the fucking place and turned it into a fucking wrestling studio, training school, and it was fucking awesome. And unfortunately, the mall's going through some changes. There's construction going on up there. Basically, the Oakdale Mall that's been a part of my life since I've been in the 607 area, it was the mall to go to in the 80s. It was the mall to hang out at when you were in your teenage years in the 90s. You know what I mean? It was our fucking area mall, and it was sick. It had an Aladdin's Castle. It had a movie theater. It had a McDonald's. It had a Burger King. You know what I mean? It had Spencer's. It had Hot Topic. It had fucking, before everything became GameStop, it had Electronics Boutique. It had fucking Babbage's. It had Software, etc. You know what I mean? It had fucking Record Town. It had fucking Disney Store, Victoria's Secrets, fucking Mr. Bulky. You know what I mean? Suncoast Video and shit. And all sorts of shit over the years. KB Toys was there. Fucking dope. You know what I mean? I saw Ernest Saves Christmas at that fucking mall. I saw fucking Scream at that mall. You know what I mean? I saw Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure at that mall. And, so basically, long story short, the Oakdale Mall has always been a part of everybody's lives that live in the 607, Binghamton, Johnson City, Endicott area. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, they're like, I don't know exactly if they're breaking it up into like 3 different like mini micro malls or what, but or like little shopping plazas with each their own shops. But from what I understand, Xcite was hoping to stay at the mall because there was going to be a BJ's Wholesale Club, there was going to be a Dick's Sporting Goods, and then there was going to be us. You know what I mean? And I was looking so forward to seeing the night signs lit up. You know what I mean? Just driving by the mall at night, looking over and just seeing the signs reading BJ's, Xcite, Dick's. And they took it all away because they said, no, we're not interested in renewing Xcite's lease. So Xcite Wrestling is getting the boot from the mall, which honestly I think fucking sucks. The reality is that mall's been dead for 22 years. I've raised a child from infant to fucking adult, and the amount of time that fucking mall has just been dying a slow death. You know what I mean? It's basically like a fucking graveyard right now as it is, with so many shops closed up and whatnot, and it's just ridiculous. And shout out to Shops of 607 for getting the boot as well. I've seen they landed back on their feet. So, what's up? But I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. I'm fucking starving. I'm going to go get a plate of food and go hang out with my family. But I want to thank everybody for watching this episode of the show. But real quick, since I didn't open shit on this episode, Patreon subscribers. My new Eternia Vicron officially showed up in the mail. I want to give a shout out to my homie Jay for helping me secure a second Vicron. So, because of Jay helping me get a second Vicron, I'm able to open it. And I'm going to do that exclusively for Patreon subscribers. If you want to watch me open this dope-ass figure that has a wonderful fucking backstory, subscribe to the Patreon for just $1 at patreon.com/Ian vs. Daddy Bones. If you want to upgrade to the second tier, it's $5 a month. You get the bonus footage for the show, your name in the credits, and you get access to the Original Geeks podcast, which is my second Patreon exclusive show for y'all. But until next time, cheers, Pete!
Roast Guy. Roast Guy. Epic Roast Guy.